Hi, everyone. I'm Shireen, and I'm here with Defiant Science and Alexis and Brittany. We're here to share Brittany's story. She is a woman of STEM, and we're going to let her tell a little bit about herself today. So, Brittany, will you let us know what college you attended, if you're in grad school, what grad school you're in, or that you did, attend? Um, what organization are you working with, and if you have any social media platforms that you'd like us to follow you on.
So it's Dr. Brittany Wheeler. Just
Oh,
to
yes.
start off with that, about a couple weeks ago, it's officially a doctor.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I went to undergrad at UNLV in Vegas, at University of Nevada, Las Vegas. From Vegas, I placed in my job working at the time. It was called UTC Aerospace Systems in San Diego. And then I started going to grad school for my MBA. And I got my MBA from the University of Redlands. We have a location here in San Diego. And then from there, I went on to get a doctorate of engineering and engineering management that really puts those two degrees together. So, and my handle, I guess you can say, is you can follow me on LinkedIn. So that's the best place. You can know more about me on LinkedIn, and some of the posts that I post are very educational or comment on.
Awesome. Okay, so I know that Jasmine, who we interviewed last week. Can you tell us a little bit about why you decided to personally pursue the MBA? Because I know that she's doing that as well. Is that something you're finding within your field that really helps elevate you in your career?
I think it's two things. One is I decided to get my MBA because I got a technical undergrad and I really wanted to know more about the business. And in order to grow in my career and in my industry, you have to know the business. It's not just about technical skills. So I think that was one of the main reasons why I decided to get an MBA. On top of, I think, and this is just my personal opinion, is that higher education is important. I don't want to just be in a field. I want to master that field, hence the doctor, right? But I'm very looking to be educated. I want to know more. That's kind of my personality. So that's really why I decided I want to, enter a room and like, no, she knows what she's talking about. She has the degrees behind her to know what she's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, can't refute experience.
Yeah. So it's both. It's like, of course, you want that work experience, but you also need the educational experience because there's new concepts, there's new things that could be learning on all sides that's being taught at school that you can apply to your work.
Cool. Okay. So can you walk us through your journey? Like how did you get to where you are today?
How did I get to where I was today? I don't think we have enough time to go deep into it, but I'll try to give you the executive summary version. Um, as a kid, I think I kind of knew I wanted to be an engineer when I was younger. I always had my mom, she was like my number one fan. She supported me in everything I decided to do. I wanted cheerleading. She was like, I'm gonna be at every practice. She's like, she's very supportive. I knew I was good in math. One of my math teachers were the one who told me like, you're really good. I actually used to make it a game. I used to want to get done before all the other kids because he'll make the test at the end of class so you can leave. So I'm like, oh, let me finish so I can get out of here. And this was probably in like 10th grade. Yeah, this was in 10th grade. I was really good in math. And he kind of sat me down, and the teacher was named Mr. Buck. I remember him to this day. He's like, you're really good in math. What are you going to do? And I said, okay. He had a chart on his wall, and we walked up to the chart. He's like, these are the careers that, are math focused. And I was like, all right, what's the top paying one? I don't need to look at any others. And he was like, it's engineer. I said, bet. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be an engineer. And it was so funny how, life works, because even when I was younger, my favorite movie of all time, I don't know if you guys can guess, it's Apollo 13. It's my favorite movie. My favorite part was where they try to fit a square inside a circle. I watched it like so many times with my family, by myself. And so when he said engineer, it just clicked. I was like, I'm going to be an aerospace engineer. That's what I'm going to do. So it was like those two events tied together to make, okay, I knew what I wanted to do when I was younger. And I decided to go to college, of course, go to university. I wanted to be close to California, but also have that out of state experience. So, and UNLV, I actually visited, and they're a really good college for engineering. And I decided to go there. And then once I was there, one thing my mother told me, and I stick with this till, today, is she was like, I can't teach you some of the stuff that the college can teach you or experiences. So what I need you to do is go out there and join every club and get this experience you need. Don't come out here playing, because we don't have the money to play, which is true. We don't have the money to pay or play, both.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. When I got there, I went to school, but I also joined an organization called the National Society of Black Engineers. I was very involved. I ended up joining the Black Student Union, and I joined it, I was the ambassador of the College of Engineering. So I was like very involved, and not to mention I made a little, basically a little connection with all my engineering, as well as other Black engineers at that time going to school, and we studied together and that stuff. So I shout out to NSBE, because if it wasn't for them, I don't think I could be here. We studied together, and I actually went to the national convention, and that's where I got my job, the career fair. And from there, I placed out in San Diego at UTC Aerospace. And one of the things I did when I got there is I did a rotational program. So we rotated through different departments at the location. So we did stress. I was a stress engineer, design. I was a project engineer for aftermarkets, as well as did some supply chain work. And then my last rotation, I was on the shop floor as a manufacturing engineer. And that's when I fell in love. I loved manufacturing engineer, one, because dealing with the workers, and I'm very personable. I like to use my relationships, within working. And also I like to solve problems. So to be able to touch the product and solve the problems, that's when I fell in love. I knew operations, manufacturing, business strategy was kind of where I was headed. From there, I just kind of moved up within the company, and from the shop floor, I did more like manufacturing, went to different locations. And then currently right now, I'm a work transfer manager. So what that entails is different products we have. It may be a supplier, or we may make it at our site. We transfer those products, and it may be for tons of reasons. It could be quality reasons, it could be cost savings, but I'm basically in charge of the projects that are transferring different products to different locations. So that's what I'm currently doing. That's how I got here today.
That's awesome. So you talked a little bit about how you've always been good in math. Was there anything that when you got to college you struggled with? I know that we hear a lot of women in STEM who explain about how, GPA is not everything. As long as you have that strive and perseverance, you can do this. Did you have to deal with any of that, or were you just always so excited and so into the material that you just, knocked it out of the park?
If someone's so excited and so into material, I would love to meet them. I would love to be a friend, because that's definitely wasn't me in this case at all. I feel like I had to work really hard, because even though math came easy, everything else did not. English did not, science did not, it was only math. So I think I had to work extra hard because everything else did not. And I had to put it more in terms of a problem solving than anything. Once they start adding words to math, I'm like, okay, take them out. I just like math. So it wasn't easy at all. And like I said, I didn't have the best GPA. I made it. They say C's get degrees. And so, but I made it. But I feel like as long as you're working towards, your end goal, I think you're good. Like I said, it wasn't just me. I was with a group of other people who were studying, trading notes from class. So you kind of have to give it that extra push. You can't just show up if you're not good at it. If it doesn't come like off the head, you actually have to, maybe miss out on that party and stay in, and work. It sucks, but that's kind of what you have to do. Or you can do both, pull all-nighter. I did some of those too. But yeah, I see me doing both. It did not come easy, but
Yeah, I love what your mom said about like we're paying for like your schooling, but also your experience. So you have to make the most of it. And I think that joining those groups and, you know, I guess that kind of makes it easier on yourself because you're like, if I can find my group of people that can help me through this experience that's really hard, like that just makes it that much easier when you're like having someone to lean on. And yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I feel like you you really can't do anything by yourself. You always need someone, whether it's turning in paperwork, turning in your homework, you need a teacher to teach you. You always need someone. So the fact that you have a community that you have, certain things in common with that may look like you are going towards the same goal, it helps because you guys want the same thing. And if one wins, they all win.
Definitely. I guess we can kind of go into now we've kind of talked about school. Do you want to tell us kind of what you do day to day in your job right now?
Yeah, so I talked about it a little bit on work transfers. Is what we do is we transfer different products to different locations, whether it be supplier or to different sites. I have a team to do that, so it takes a lot of coordinating. So I'm in charge of that team coordinating. So it could be a buyer to coordinate the schedule. It could be materials to get the materials there, or it could be quality because you have to check the quality, right? When you're moving stuff, you don't just move, you have to verify everything, make sure it's up to spec. So I think it takes a lot of coordination. So it's a lot of project management. It's a lot of coordinating with teams, coordinating with people. You're on other people's time as well as you're trying to make sure you hit your project plan objectives and that type of thing. So the one thing that I love about it is that I get exposure to different products. So it's not just one product that I work on. So I may be transferring an exhaust from, a plane, or I might be transferring the inlet where the fan blades are. And then we also take it even deeper is we might transfer different products and technologies. So we might transfer a certain composite machine or layup, or we might transfer a certain fabrication method. So it's so many different aspects of what we do. It's just basically dealing with anything that needs to move to a different location we're responsible of.
That's cool. Do you get to see like the ins and outs of those parts like in your position? Or do you just know the ins and outs because of your other positions you've
I
had?
think it's both. Because working on the shop floor, I got exposure to everything, the good and the bad and the ugly. Also, kind of those quick fix. I think me being on a shop floor, being a manufacturing engineer, it allowed me to gain the ability to problem solve as well as in a technical way. And then I kind of apply that to my current position. Oh, I know what that is. Or if I don't know, it's like, okay, I know where to look, or I know the steps it takes to understand. Okay, let me pull up these drawings, look at these specs. All right, I understand that. Or okay, let me do this. So it put me in the position to know where to look if I don't know.
That's cool.
So our next question is, how is your field different from when you started to now?
Uh, so technically starting out would be when I first started the industry, but I definitely studied my field in engineering. Um, I would say that it wasn't quite what I expected. Um, when I got there, I don't think it is ever what you're expected. I think it's either more or less. I don't think I don't think this field's designed to meet your expectations. But I would say it was different in the sense of I thought I was going to be in it alone. But the good thing is that in the industry, also have teams, we work together, and it was kind of the same collaborative environment that was in college. So that part I was truly thankful for. And just as in like the field technical wise is we kind of didn't do kind of the stuff that we learned in school, like aerodynamics and thermodynamics. It wasn't that. It just taught us the problem solving. So I would say it's the same in the problem solving aspect is you have a problem, you need to solve it. You have a job, you need to do it. So I think it definitely taught me like distinct critical problem solving skills that I already naturally had. So that was definitely applicable to the industry. And within the industry, I would say is first starting out, first starting out, I would say commercially wise, we were definitely at a height point, and it continued to go high in aerospace. And this is for commercial because I focus on commercial things. So when I started out, I would say I was the only one that kind of looked like me. There was like quite a few, here and there. When I first started, I was like one of the first NSBE recruits to come onto that site. So I think that was their first, really big push to recruit outside of San Diego, as well as really focus on recruiting diverse candidates. So I was one of the first ones. And once I got there and noticed that, I was like, okay, I want to start an ERG, employee resource group, to really, get more people out there, really focus, and I want to help the company. And then I would say, through the years, I start seeing more and more people that look like me, so, and in meetings being more receptive to certain ideas, and seeing more people that, looked at me as woman, looked at me as an African American. And it was like, really, it's a good feeling to see. And of course you have your ups and downs in the industry, but I think that for the most part, that the biggest thing was culturally to see the more receptive, and see more people. So I think that definitely meet the expectations and that aspect of like, okay, they understand and they're moving in the right direction.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, we don't hear it all the time. So yeah, it's great to hear. And I think I want to touch on your point that it wasn't necessarily, or like your field wasn't necessarily what you expected, in terms of like, yeah, what you're doing in school isn't exactly what you'll be doing in the field, because we run into that too, where you're like, oh, like, why am I doing this? Because either I'm never going to use it, or like I want to be doing something else. But like you said, it's just preparing you for that problem solving, and that there's other skills that you're getting while you're in school so that you can be successful when you leave.
I would say definitely for my technical roles, like in stress, I definitely use some stuff that I used in school. And I did cantilever beams and did some analysis on translating sleeve for the A220 thrust reverser. It's called a thrust reverser. So I did some of that, and I actually used my book from school, and I was like, oh, let me, I know I did this. So there's some stuff that's definitely applicable when you're in the really technical. But my personality, I'm an extrovert. So I'm more of management, managing people, doing this project engineering type. So I knew I wasn't going to use some of it, but I at least got to experience that, and that I'm grateful for. And the company I currently work for, the name change we bought, but it's called Raytheon Technologies.
Awesome. So going back to the diversity that you're seeing, I know that you're personally working on an initiative and a nonprofit yourself. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Yeah,
no problem. So the nonprofit that I'm working on is with my co-founder. Her name is Jasmine LaFleur. We also work at the same location. We met at work. We're really good friends. It's called Greater Than Tech, and focus is teaching women of color or girls of color, and hopefully they become women of color, who business and engineering concepts and tools to be really well-rounded and the next generation of tech leaders. Because I've seen several nonprofits that focus on STEM. I think we all know there's several and really good initiatives. And a lot may focus on engineering, may focus on science, technology, but we really are like, okay, we're both extroverts and we're both entrepreneurs within entrepreneur world. And, within work, is we should definitely teach these same concepts to girls. We were both robotic instructors for the Elementary Institute of Science here at San Diego. So we did bot ball, and we taught middle school girls. And the one thing that we saw was like, we love this. We love being instructors. We love giving back. It's part of, who we are, but we would love this for girls of color, and not just teaching them robotics, but teaching them how it applies to the real world. So giving them real world concepts. So don't just create a bridge, a marshmallow bridge or that bridge, but how is it applied to the real world? I need you to sell that bridge to contractors or sell that bridge to the government. I need you to take it a step further. And that's what we do is they don't only do engineering concepts or redesign technologies, but they also learn how to sell that technology, how to market it, how to market themselves, to, you know, be their own person, entity, or a business owner if they want to, or be an asset to a corporation, either or.
Oh, that's so amazing. I got chills while you were explaining it too. For everyone watching, we do want to bring back Brittany and Jasmine so they can talk about more in detail about their nonprofit and how women of color can utilize this to help them, you know, move forward in their college careers and, you know, thereafter. So that's awesome. And we commend you for what you're doing. It's
Thank you.
amazing. Also,
Thank you.
what's Robot Ball? It sounds like, you know, a gala, so I need to know more.
So it's called Bot Ball. And basically what it was is, I don't know if you guys heard of First Robotics. First Robotics, it's a competition that, you know, kids do. They create robots and they are designed to do specific tasks. And it's the same thing. It's Bot Ball is the same thing. It does the same thing as well. So they designed 2 robots. It could be one they designed from scratch or one that they use kind of the iRobot, you know, the vacuum, and they build upon that, different things like that. But it's designed to do a specific task. And it's always behind a concept. One year it was like farming. So robot had to plant seeds, move water, and they have different obstacles that represent something. So a block may be a stack of hay, you know, a ball might be water, and you have to move it to certain locations on a board. And they have to do it in a certain time and certain levels because there's some hay that may be on top of a building. So you need to design a robot that can extend and grab it. So it's those types of things. The next year after that, it was like, it was designed as a city, like kind of the city's on fire, you have to put it out, go get firefighters, go get water, you know, go get those types of things. So it teaches the kids kind of, you know, to build robots, but the same as how it's applied to real world, kind of what, you know, what we're talking about. And that's really where the idea generated, but we're like, no, let's actually do it. Let them actually make the technology and sell it. So that's where, hence the name is called Greater Than Tech, because it's more than technology. We want you to learn more than technology. We want you to learn business concepts. So it's greater than that. It's a whole movement.
That's so cool. I wish I'd have signed up for one of those things.
I know, definitely. That's the reason why we made it. We're like, oh, we want to be those same little girls that signed up, because unfortunately, I didn't have that opportunity where I grew up from, or knew about it, or even my family didn't know about it. My mom didn't know about it to know that. So we want those same opportunities for everyone else.
Yeah.
Are you seeing more girls becoming involved? Like your experience with the robotics team, did you see like year after year more girls signing up? I feel like we are moving that direction, but just confirm.
I would say definitely. There was one point we had a waiting list. And this is because I think parents are now, they're getting it. Like one, I think for one, they want their kid to be successful in life. So they want to expose them to everything. So I really commend the parents for, you know, signing their kids up for this. But I think also nowadays that kids are also seeing people on TV that look like them in these fields. So I know I didn't have that luxury when I was growing up, but now I definitely see people who look like me on TV in these positions. So they're like, hey, maybe it's not a singer and a teacher anymore. Maybe it's like, oh, I want to be a scientist. I see that now. You know, those different exposures to the women on TV and societal industries kind of teach the girls something new and something different to look forward to. So I think it's definitely have increased more than anything.
Yeah, and I always think like we are also worried that there's already someone in this space like kind of doing what we're doing, but at the same time I think that the more of us there are, like we can talk to our groups, you know, like we all know different people, so that the more people we can expose to all these things, like the better off we are. So I think that, yeah, doing what you're doing is amazing because it's, you know, just more people that get exposed to it.
Of course. The more the merrier, right?
Yeah.
So, going back to your academic career, was there any specific obstacle that you had to overcome that you could pinpoint in your journey? I know that you mentioned, you had to really apply yourself for your courses that weren't specifically, just math, but was there anything that really stood out in your journey that you felt, you had to break down that wall?
I would say it's two things. And first, on a normal, I'm a human being portion, it's paying for school. That's the biggest obstacle. Year by year, it was like, am I going to go back? Because it's expensive. College is expensive. I have student loans to this day. I think that was the biggest obstacle. Me and my mom sitting down and really going over finances to see how we can, pay for school. I was working, my mom's working overtime to help pay for school on top of loans. I think that's the biggest obstacle. And of course, if it wasn't for my mom, I don't think I would be able to be here talking to you guys today. So I think she's 100% it. She has loans because of me for student, being a student, and I have loans as well. So I think paying for it was the biggest obstacle. But like I said earlier, the biggest thing is I had to make it worth it. It has to be worth this hard fight. So this day, she's like, the loans were worth it, So I think that was the biggest obstacle, is fighting and really getting to the end to make that all worth it. And, all this debt is now worth it. So I think on a human level, paying for it, that was the number one obstacle. Because sometimes, because you're not the best student, you don't qualify for certain scholarships because it already is a hard industry. You're barely getting by. So you have to look at other avenues to pay for school. So that's one. And then two would just be kind of what I said, is the obstacle of dealing with certain courses that you don't have, that doesn't come natural to you. So it's a very big obstacle. I remember, I think it was physics. I don't know if it comes easy to you guys, but physics does not come easy to me. I was like, okay, the periodic table, okay, that's chemistry, got it. Got it, okay. Newton's law, okay, physics, okay, got that. And then doing the lab, I was like, physics, it was hard for me. I was like, trying to learn the concept because it's a lot of memory, and I have the worst memory in the effing world. It's hard. It's just like, okay, I had to remember this law and I had to apply this law. Okay, I can't use that in this situation. I have to use this in this situation. So it's so many different scenarios in physics that can be applied. And it's so many, and I was in the first level. So there's still physics 2 I had to take. So I think that's the biggest obstacle. And the thing is, because it was physics, I couldn't use my engineering friends. So some have already taken it or not taken it yet. So I had to basically find a different group or a different avenue to really study and learn from, because I'm a type of person, if I'm by myself, I need an accountability partner. I need tutoring hours. I need something else. By myself, I might just put the books down and go somewhere else. But I really need to, I'm very organized, and okay, this is my study time. This. I'm very in that aspect. So I actually had to develop a certain different group and, make myself more, available, as well as branch out and talk to different people in class to know, who to talk to, what we can do. So I actually had to find groups and find people to study with to overcome that obstacle of physics.
Well, that's where your extrovert personality is.
Yeah.
Let me just go find somebody else that's going to help me.
Yeah, because maybe they can tell me in a different way than the teacher, because the teacher may tell it, a technical way. Maybe they can put it in layman's terms, like, okay, here's a ball, it bounces. All right, back. I understand that. So yeah, I definitely had to do that and find someone, actually groups that were, willing to have study groups and sessions and do the teachers after hours, as well as tutoring hours and that type.
Yeah, the only reason I laugh so much is because I'm currently taking physics, the electromagnetism,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel everything that you said on a very personal level. It is like a whole different ballgame. I mean,
I was like, how is it different than chemistry? How do you take a step up?
words, but all the
Yes,
words are
thank you.
so complicated.
Yes,
But,
who invented math with words? That should be against the law.
Newton, that darn apple. But talking about study groups, I know that that's a huge like obstacle to overcome for the students that are currently in classes that are all digital and remote right now.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm struggling with that too, but I think it's so important to find those groups of people that'll hold you accountable. So, I mean, even if it's a Zoom group meeting that you're just staring at each other while doing your homework, but you can't show the homework, like it's still important to have that one-on-one accountability.
And even outside of school in life, it's, you know, you have your friends, you have your best friends. Those are your accountability partners, whether it's your parents. So it would, you know, be smart of you to get those in school as well. And if you have to buy a whiteboard and do Zoom meetings, that's what you know, that's what you have to do. But you have them in life, so you have to apply it for school because it's the same thing.
Yeah, totally agree. So let's go to some, you know, questions about who you are as a person. So what do you like to do for fun outside of work and now that you're done with your PhD?
Thank you. So now that I have more free time, one thing, fun fact is I love skating. I love roller skating. My family has been roller skating. I was brought up on that. I have my own custom Stacy Adams skates. I love roller skating, roll bounce, going backwards, those types. Skating definitely keeps me sane, but if I'm not skating, I am doing stuff for the nonprofit. So giving back is a hobby. I love it. It's not a job for me. This is something that I love to do. It satisfies me internally. So whether I'm volunteering for a different organization or within my own helping out, I'm either shopping, skating, giving back to the community, because I wouldn't be here and be the person I am today without a community to help raise me, because it always takes a village to raise me. Or another thing, a fun fact is that I'm a blurred. We call them blurds. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's a Black nerd.
I have.
So I'm like a big Comic-Con fan. I'm in San Diego, so I go to Comic-Con. I drag my family with me, my nephew, my niece, and my brother. I go to Comic-Con. I love all Marvel movies. So if my watching Marvel shows and movies, I probably know them all.
Well, hi from fellow cosplayers.
Hey.
We love Comic-Con and we love to dress up. And
Yes, I was Laura Croft. I love all of that. So that's the main thing I'm doing, is watching Marvel shows or doing that. I'm such a blurred. It's ridiculous. It's a fun fact about me is that I love to do that. And I'm also preparing for the apocalypse, the zombie apocalypse. So I'm learning archery to prepare for that, because if you use a gun, it's too loud. The zombies will get you. So that's what I'm doing.
Awesome.
that's awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So what do you wish you knew before you started down the path that you started down?
I think the one thing I wish I knew is there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Is sometimes during your journey, you're like, I don't know why I'm doing this. You question yourself. You question everything around you, why you're doing it. Thank God I did, a lot of people change their major. Thank God I did not change my major. I saw it through the end. I gave back, but there is a light between the end of the tunnel. And sometimes you feel like, why am I doing all this for what? And so if I didn't do all this, I wouldn't be here today. So it's like, I would tell myself is, don't question yourself. Don't ever question yourself. Don't ever question what you're doing. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and this is just right now for a bigger end goal. That's what I tell myself, just encouraging and powerful words, because I did not know. And I also tell myself to be strong, because it's a lot of things that happen that discourage you. Like I mentioned before, I was kind of the only, Black woman at the company that looked like me. And at the same time, it's like, okay, are they going to be interested in my ideas? Are they judging me? Are they, you know, I have no one to relate to. It's kind of, you know, puts you in a mood. So I would tell myself to be strong and, you know, look out, you know, for my star player, know what I want, and really focus on myself in that. So those are the two things I would tell myself.
Yeah, that's great advice. It's maybe the one advice that every girl entering college needs to hear. I mean, it is totally about, you know, just seeing it through. It can be done. If you want it bad enough, you can do this.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I would totally agree.
I think even if you do end up doing something a little bit different or a little unexpected, that journey was still important to get you to where you are now.
It's experience. It's all about experience. It makes you a better person. It makes you who you are. And if you didn't trip, you wouldn't know to get back up again.
Yep, that is very true. Okay, so one of our close to the last questions that we have for you is, what would be your proudest achievement?
Only because it was 2 weeks ago. I would say getting my doctorate degree. My grandmother died before graduating, so she didn't get to see me graduate. And one of the things I wrote in her, and this is graduating from undergrad, not even from my MBA. And one of the things I wrote inside of her obituary is that, you know, you're not going to be here to see me, but I will make it to the end, and I will be Dr. Wheeler for you. And the most proudest thing is I was able to make my grandmother proud and make my mother proud and be a doctor. And that's one of the most proudest things to me, on top of giving back. I don't think I can truly call myself a leader if I did not give back or pull people in with me. I'm very passionate about teaching the next generation. My brother, I was on him when I was in undergrad. He was going to, you know, junior NSBE events, and him. Like I said earlier, I didn't have that when I was in school. So I made sure my brother had that exposure, and he actually started school 2 years ago at Tuskegee for manufacturing engineering. So It's like those experiences I have to teach others, as well as, you know, succeed and be successful, is the most proudest moment I have. To be a doctor, be specialized in my field, and to be African-American woman doctor. That's not even common in there. Engineering is not common for African-American women. You know, being a doctor in engineering is not common for an African-American woman. That's a very proud aspect of my life.
Well, congratulations. You deserve it, and that's
Thanks.
awesome to hear.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I guess we can kind of close with the last question. I mean, I know we kind of talked about it, but is there any last thing you'd like to say to young women starting their journey, pursuing a career in STEM?
I kind of would give the same advice that I gave earlier, is to be confident. I don't know about you guys, I think people respect confidence, someone who knows what they want and knows where they're trying to go. It's very important, and use whatever resources you need to get there. Whether it be organizations, nonprofits, your parents, a study group, use whatever you can to get there. It's okay to use it as long as you guys are working together towards that goal. And it's always a two-way street. You have to help them and they have to help you, because it's, you know, it's not a one-way street. And if you find someone who has the same goals as you and get to the end, that's even better. So I would have that advice to them. Stick to it and find mentors, you know, be with them. Don't get discouraged by societal barriers or societal situations or issues, because that's a lot going on right now, and that's discouraging on itself. That's a whole nother ballpark that we have to, you know, look at and incorporate, that also made me who I am today and where I come from, which is Los Angeles, California. It is use where you come from, or use your background, or use what's going on in society to help push you and want to change it. So I know I'm trying to change it, and that's why I'm so serious about giving back. I don't want to conform. I don't want to ignore. I don't want to be ignorant to what's going on. I don't want certain things to happen to myself, my children. So that's the advice I would give. Use all this for a cause, to be a force.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Thank you.
Yeah, so congratulations on your
Thank you.
doctorate. Oh my God,
Thank you.
so
We
amazing.
have to celebrate.
Yes, yes.
Zoom happy hour.
They are still a thing. I saw somebody bashing him the other day. I was like, no, those are fun. But yeah, we are, like I said earlier in the video, we will definitely get you and Jasmine back on to talk more about Greater Than Tech. We definitely want to hear what you have to say and what you're doing with that platform and how other people that, you know, may come to us can, you know, we can send them over to you so they can, you know, be better assisted, I think.
Yeah, I would love that. And me and Jasmine would love to come back, tell you our story, how we even met within the company, and really tell you about Greater Than Tech, where it is now and where it's going, because I think has the potential to be something bigger.
Definitely, definitely. And we will do everything we can to support you in that as well.
Thank you. And well, it's always a two-way street. Like I said, we're here to support you as well. So tell us what we can do to help. It's all about a partnership, leveraging your relationships.
Yep. Well, we just want to say thank you again for joining us, and we can't wait to, you know, have you back on.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.